And so on to our final bit of news. Excuse me. And this is a lot more serious than other stuff we've been talking about. This is to do with the business of making superhero stuff. And also, it pains me when somebody who I like in as a creator in the industry seems to be doing some shit. You know, this this to me this sucks. But we got to talk about it because we talk about creators' rights and all that other stuff. We're for creators' rights. And when one creator sort of allegedly does some shady shit, we need to call that out. So we learned this last week that Robert Kirkman and his production company are being sued by a former co-creator of Invincible. So the context of this is when Invincible was being worked on, part of the I guess the contract, the verbal contract or whatever between Robert Kirkman and the artist that work on it, in this case a colorist who is doing the suing, was, I can't pay you a lot of money, but you'll get a certain percentage of the rights to the character and so forth and so on. And the lawsuit alleges that Kirkman, you know, sort of duped this colorist into signing away his rights to the character in the interest of making it easier to sell the property for film and whatever other development. So he signs his rights away to this production company, and of course now Invincible is become animated. Amazon's paid money and whatever for it's money. Money is exchanged hands. He feels like Kirkman and his lawyers or whatever sort of tricked him out of his rights, and now he's suing for for some kind of compensation. Now here's the twist, or not the twist, but like the wrinkle for anyone who's immediately jumping to Kirkman's defense and like, oh no, he signed away, he's nothing wrong, and you know how fanboys are because they like a guy that made something that they like, you know. Before you jump to his defense, he just finished, might be in the last couple of years, settling a very similar lawsuit related to The Walking Dead.
Yep.
And which, by the way, The Walking Dead is way more lucrative, um, way more lucrative property than Invincible is, as you can see by all the TV shows and whatever. And
Mhm.
he settled out of court after having been sued for something very similar, right? So one time is like, well, that's maybe it was just a misunderstanding. Two times suggests a pattern of action, right? And I say this as someone who likes Robert Kirkman because I've sort of followed him when he wasn't, this guy that's making all this money on TV and shit, when he was just a comics man. And it's sort of it doesn't sort of, it dismays me to know that a guy that was a struggling comic writer in the first place sort of
Becomes
makes
this.
some moves that are shady, you
Yeah.
know?
Because I would.
Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah. Because I was just about to say, didn't we have a discussion about him going through like him having to fight Claw to get everything that he for him to get his rights? Now he's allegedly doing this to other people. Like, come on, man. They always say the person who points the finger the hardest, there's four fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah. It's shit is just it's fucking disappointing cuz like to me this is just about, treating other people well. Now, whatever I just I don't want to say like, oh, Robert Kirkman, he's got this nefarious plan to, steal the rights out from other people so he can't share any money. I don't know that that's true. But
No.
man, that's not good. You get sued twice. You get sued twice. In fact, I say three times because Frank Darabont, who directed and helped develop the first season of The Walking Dead, sued him and AMC also. Right? He
Hmm.
sued him. Then an artist on The Walking Dead sued him, and then now this is a
Hmm.
colorist on The Walking Dead sued him. This one I'm talking about. Like, it becomes a pattern of behavior, and it becomes hard for me to not at least give some credence to what these people are alleging.
Hmm.
That said, we are not lawyers. We don't have all the information. We can't really speculate too much on what actually happened. I think an overall better the thing to talk about is you know how workers within these industries are treated, and trying to make sure that people are treated fairly and that there's nobody screwing anybody over, because there's a lot of money going on here. So much so that I'm pretty sure everyone can fucking eat, right? Everyone can eat. Ain't no need
Yeah.
to be snatching food out of somebody else's mouth, you know?
Yeah.
And fortunately, because of this day and age of superhero dominance, every creator down the line is smart enough to know like they don't sign rights away. They don't make dumbass deals. But this was from like 15 odd years ago, early in the early
Hmm.
2000s, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't quite the same thing at the time. And I just want, for one, I want this to be resolved in a way that actually is just. That if this guy did get screwed over in this situation, I want him to get, compensated appropriately. And also, if this really is a pattern of behavior on the part of Robert Kirkman, I want him to get help and to stop, right? Because I respect the
Yeah.
shit out of him as a storyteller, creator of story, but I don't respect that business. The way
Hmm.
he conducts business. If that's the way he's conducting business, this is true. I don't respect that at all, and it's going to be very hard for me to continue to support him and the things he does, if that's the way he's going to do business.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. I just hate to hear that, because like you said, I love his story, Invincible, and I hate to hear that that the story that I really enjoy, it's a lot of shadiness and stuff goes behind it, because but it's always like a little sombering thing that I always got to remember that unfortunately we live in a this is it's a business, and some people, instead of being happy with their piece of the pie, they want to take more of the pie and they will destroy to get that piece. It's unfortunate that it's like that,
Hmm.
but that's what we live in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This we just need to treat creators better. Treat creators better and compensate accordingly. And relate in a related, but not to this particular story, but talking about creators being treated fairly. That I can't even remember the creator's name, but a comic book creator uh, gave a shout out to Neil Gaiman about having now gotten his whole, his compensation for reprints and so forth as a comic creator from Marvel. He's gotten into their system, and now he's getting his royalty
Hmm.
checks like he's supposed to,
Yeah.
which is a win, and I celebrate that win. And I really have much respect for Neil Gaiman, who's really been beating this drum constantly over the last year and a half, about making sure that Marvel pays like they're supposed to, contractually supposed to. I much respect, and I'm happy that he's doing that, but that this needs to be it needs to be more of a rarity that someone's getting screwed and not a normality. And right now it's still normal for people who don't have a big voice and they're not big names in the industry to get screwed by Marvel and Disney uh, with their royalties. So I am hoping and for the day that Marvel just does right
Yeah.
without someone having to like shame them into it. So we're
Yeah.
we're gonna keep talking about this. I think Marvel must pay. That's the hashtag. I think it's true, and we need to continue to highlight it.